The Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer just hit the web and we got a glimpse at a clutter of spider people from different timelines and realities. We're here to break down every single Spider-Man variant we were able to identify as we swung through this crazy 2.5-minute clip. We'll be looking at where the different designs originate and give you a bit of a backstory. So let's get right to it. We're kicking things off with Miles Morales, as he joins Spider-Gwen on a trip through the multiverse, which lands them both at a nexus point where a bunch of different versions of Spider-Man are hanging out and interacting. In the comics, this was Loomworld, an Earth-001 city used as a base of operations by the Spider-Man hunting inheritors. They were ultimately defeated by the Web Warriors, who converted Loomworld into their own HQ, as it allowed them to quickly travel across the multiverse and protect various realities. As Miles is taking in the moment, we can already spot a few familiar faces. Walking upside down above his head, we see a velocity suit from the Gamerverse. This armor was specifically designed for the 2018 PS4 game Marvel's Spider-Man, and it is also featured in the tie-in comic book miniseries Spider-Man Velocity. The suit also makes an appearance in Far From Home when Peter is creating his own suit using Stark tech. Velocity Spidey is chatting with a classic Spider-Man, but our guess is that this is the design from the 1994 Spider-Man the Animated Series. As the shot pans out, we see two more fan favorites from the Gamerverse, namely PS4 Peter Parker walking with Miles Morales, who's wearing an alternate upgraded suit from his own independent game. Now on the left, sipping his latte, we see Spider-Man Mark II, aka the Bulletproof Armor. This suit made its first appearance in Spider-Man Volume 1 number 656 in May of 2011, as part of the No One Dies storyline. After losing his spider sense and becoming an easy target for gunfire, Peter Parker builds a bulletproof suit that can also shoot radio frequency blocking webs. When Spider-Man regains his spider sense, the bulletproof armor is no longer needed. We also catch a glimpse of a female Spider-Man who could very well be Spider-Girl, aka Mayday, Parker from Earth 982. In that reality, May is the first child of Peter and Mary Jane. She has inherited her father's spider powers and fights crimes as Spider-Girl. Next to her we see a suit that is reminiscent of the Future Foundation costume Peter Parker wore on Earth 616, the main Marvel continuity. After Johnny Storm's death, Spider-Man joins the Fantastic Four as per the Human Torch's last wish, and is drafted into Reed Richards' Future Foundation, donning the black and white costume made from unstable molecules. Speaking of black and white costumes, this one looks like it could be Peter Parker from Earth 91240. In this reality, Spider-Man was a ruthless bounty hunter, part of the Infernal Four, along with Hulk, Ghost Rider and Wolverine. The Infernal Four were a group of highly skilled hunters hired by the god Emperor Doom to apprehend Punisher, who broke Doom's law, while under the control of his reality's Doctor Strange. Yeah, comics can get really convoluted. We also see a yellow and black Spider-Man walking by. This could be a new character, or it could be Peter Parker from Earth TRN 843, in which evil scientist group AIM brainwashed a bunch of superheroes to do their bidding. As part of AIM, this version of Peter is known as Spider Mechanic. We also see a red and neon blue Spider-Man leisurely strolling by, talking on his phone. But we have no idea who this guy is. If you manage to identify him, tell us in the comments, we'd love to know. As we pan out, we see a bunch of exciting versions. This is Lady Spider. Her real name is Maybelle Riley, aka Young Aunt May. She lives in the steampunk world of Earth 803 and has built her own spider suit, with 4 mechanical arms which enable her to climb walls. She also created her own web shooters. May also got bit by a spider as a little kid, but since it wasn't radioactive, it didn't give her any special powers. This fine gentleman directing traffic is none other than Spider Cop. As the name implies, he is a law enforcement officer from Earth 19119. Sadly, he doesn't seem to have his iconic shades and stash here, and his look is decidedly toned down compared to the cop caricature from the comics. Spider Cop started off as an inside joke between Spidey and NYPD Captain Yuri Watanabe in the PS4 game. The joke was so popular with fans, that Marvel actually decided to make Spider Cop a real character in the Spider-Geddon storyline. In the background, we can also see Spinneret and Spiderling from the Renew Your Vows storyline. They're Mary Jane Watson and Anna May Parker, Spider-Man's wife and daughter respectively from Earth 18119. MJ became Spinneret by wearing a tech suit that mimicked Spidey's abilities, while Anna May inherited her spider powers from her dad. Lying down on the girder next to them seems to be an homage to the Homecoming poster. Moving on, this scantily clad fellow is known as Undies. This is, a suit? I guess? From the Gamerverse that can be unlocked in Marvel's Spider-Man. It's basically just Peter wearing his Spidey mask, a pair of web shooters and Spider-Man themed underwear. Next to him, we see a group of Spider-Men chatting. The blue one could be Fantastic Spider-Man. This is a suit Peter Parker created upon joining the Fantastic Four, as per Johnny Storm's last wish. He would quickly have to change it, as the Fantastic Four rebranded to the Future Foundation and wore a different type of uniform, one we addressed earlier on. It could also be another Fantastic Four uniform worn by Spidey as part of the Empire event. Or it could be April Parker, from Earth 982, a secret clone of May Parker, Peter's and MJ's daughter, who was genetically altered by Norman Osborn to be the first human symbiote hybrid, Mayhem. The pink-cowled Spidey might just be the Spider Hero, aka Hobart Brown from Earth 25315. Or the Splendiferous Spider Hero, an alias used by Blade at one point. Next, we have the Iron Spider armor, but not the one from the MCU, aka Earth 199999. No, this is the version from the comics, where Peter Parker sides with Iron Man in the Civil War event and Tony Stark builds a red and gold costume for Peter Parker, similar to the Iron Man armor, but much sleeker and featuring 3 retractable robotic arms called Waldos. When Peter decides to switch sides in the conflict, he also ditches the armor. We see a variant of these mechanical legs in Infinity War. Up here we see Spider-Man from Earth 2301, the Marvel Mangaverse. In his reality, this Peter Parker is the last member of a ninja order called the Spider Clan, and he's out for revenge against Venom, who killed his sensei, this universe's Uncle Ben. And yes, we see him doing the Naruto run. Believe it. As we move further left, we can see something that resembles Spider-Man's negative suit, first seen in issue 90 of the main Spider-Man comic book title from the 90s. When Spidey gets sucked through a black hole into the negative zone, his costume changes to a photo-negative copy of itself, becoming a black and white suit. In this guise, Spidey assumes the identity of Dusk and leads a group of rebels in their fight against the tyrannical Blastar. The costume also made an appearance in the PS4 game as an unlockable suit. Speaking of weird things, here's something you don't see every day. A werewolf Spider-Man. A spider-wolf? A wolf Spider-Man? Anyway, the Spider-Man who howls is Peter Parker from Earth 7085, a world infected with superpowered werewolves. It is closely linked to the Marvel Zombie universe. In fact, Werewolf Spidey made his debut at the end of the Marvel Zombies vs. Army of Darkness crossover event in 2007. On the other side of the screen, we see a Spider-Man who is so ugly, he has to hide his face with a paper bag. No, that's actually none other than the bombastic Bagman. When Peter Parker from Earth 616 separated from the symbiote, leading to the creation of Venom, he found himself at the Baxter Building, without a costume. The Fantastic Four gave him one of their spare uniforms, and Johnny Storm gave him a brown paper bag with eye holes as a temporary mask and also attached a "Kick Me" sign to his back. The costume also became a fan favorite as part of the PS4 game. Unfortunately, we don't see the Fantastic Four logo here, probably due to copyright issues. This jock-looking guy is most likely Captain Spider from Earth 78127. In a what-if story from 1977, Flash Thompson was the one bitten by a radioactive spider, gaining Spider-Man's powers, instead of Peter Parker. Peter B. Parker makes his comeback, hanging around and having a snack. This time, he's also sporting a baby carry, no doubt holding a small Mayday Parker, whom we previously talked about in this breakdown. Making her badass on-screen debut as Spider-Woman, aka Jessica Drew, bursting in via motorcycle and taking down a gorgeously designed vulture. She seems to be pregnant, mirroring a fan-favorite post-Secret Wars comic storyline from 2015. Finally, we get a glimpse at the other protagonist of the film, Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099 from Earth 928. In the comics, Miguel is a scientist who is betrayed by his employer, leading him to splice his DNA with the genes of a spider, gaining the proportional strength and agility of the arachnid. He fights crime with the help of his companion, an AI called Lila, also featured here in the credits scene. In the trailer, he seems to start off as an antagonist to Miles Morales, perhaps because of the little girl we see in a few scenes, named Gabriella. She's probably Miguel's daughter. Then all hell breaks loose as all Spider-Verse variants suddenly turn on Miles, as he swings for his life. Here we get a look at Superior Spider-Man, who is actually Dr. Otto Octavius secretly inhabiting Peter's body. In the comics, Doc Ock took on the mantle of Spider-Man after Peter Parker's death, inspired by Spidey's belief of great power and great responsibility, vowing to become an even better Spider-Man than Peter was. A superior Spider-Man, if you will. From the top of the screen is what appears to be Supaidaman from Earth 51778. Phil Lord has pretty much confirmed on Twitter that the Japanese Spider-Man is due for a cameo in Across the Spider-Verse. Now, unless you're a huge tokusatsu fan or a true Spidey nerd, you might have missed this iteration. Hailing from the 1970s Japanese TV series Spider-Man, commonly referred to as Japanese Spider-Man, Takuya Yamashiro is this universe's web-slinger, though he admittedly bears little resemblance to our idea of Spidey. In this reality, Spider-Man is a motocross racer with superhuman abilities and various gadgets like a flying car equipped with missile launchers, a spacecraft and a giant mecha robot called Leopardon. We did mention this series is from Japan, right? On the right, the female black and white Spidey is likely Spider-Girl, aka Anya Corazon, who in the comics also went by the name Aranya. She is a teenage gymnast from Brooklyn who accidentally got tangled up in the fight between the Sisterhood of the Wasp and the Spider Society. Recognizing her potential to become their champion, the sorcerer Miguel Leger transferred some of his power to her. And thus she became Spider-Girl. In the trailer, she is however missing her signature ponytail. Miles is battling a six-armed Spidey in the air, which could potentially be Ultimate Tarantula from Earth 1610. He was a clone of Peter Parker, created by Otto Octavius and Ben Reilly, as part of the Clone Saga arc of Ultimate Spider-Man. Joining the fray is also Spider Armor Mark I. This suit of armor was created by Peter Parker back in 1993 as part of the Web of Spider-Man Volume 1 comic book series. During the armor's maiden voyage, Spidey jokingly referred to himself as the Spider of Steel. Right on their heels as Spider-Man Zero. He is the official Spider-Man outfit from Fortnite. He could also be another one of the Spidey armors, Mark III from the Amazing Spider-Man 682. Peter built this armor to battle the Sinister Six in the Ends of the Earth story arc. This onlooker seems reminiscent of the costume Bruce Banner wore on Earth 70105, a topsy-turvy reality, in which the identities of our favorite heroes get swapped. Peter Parker gets exposed to the gamma radiation and becomes the Hulk, while Bruce Banner gets bitten by a radioactive spider and becomes Spider-Man. Another familiar face is Scarlet Spider, aka Kane Parker. He was a failed clone of Peter Parker whose creation process left him physically deformed and mentally unstable. He is ultimately redeemed and takes up the mantle of the Scarlet Spider from Ben Reilly. One Spider-Man running across the screen has a very distinct gold-brown color scheme. This might be a stretch, but maybe this is an homage to the original Halloween costume from the 50s, which allegedly inspired Steve Ditko and Stan Lee to create the iconic look of the original Spider-Man. In the forefront, we see a portly gentleman, who is Earth X Spidey. Artist Alex Ross already revealed that he was included in this trailer. In his reality, Peter Parker has retired from the role of Spider-Man and leads a lonely and depressed life. And since he no longer uses his spider powers, his accelerated metabolism catches up with him and he becomes obese. In the background of the same shot, we see the amazing Spider Monkey. Earth 801 is similar to our world, except that all the human superheroes are, you guessed it, primates. As such, Spider Monkey is the equivalent of Spider-Man in this Marvel Apes universe. However, unlike his Earth 616 counterpart, Spider Monkey has no problem killing his foes. We also see another version of Jessica Drew, as Spider-Woman, this time in her more iconic old-school costume. The shot switches to a full-on chase scene, where we see another beloved version of Peter Parker, namely that from the 1999 animated series Spider-Man Unlimited. This Spidey uses a nanotech suit built by Reed Richards and fights the High Evolutionary's army of human-animal hybrids on Counter-Earth. Fun fact: the High Evolutionary will appear in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This blue and green Spider-Man on the left could potentially be the Fear itself suit from the Serpent's War story in the comics. It was a suit made by Tony Stark and the dwarves of Nidavellir out of pure Aru. This is the same unique metal out of which Mjolnir and Stormbreaker were fashioned. This is also what the Destroyer armor in Thor was made of. These are all the variants we managed to spot in this insane trailer. However, we also know that another fan favorite is bound to make an appearance, namely Spider-Punk, aka Hobie Brown from Earth 138. Also set to make an appearance is Indian Spider-Man, Paviter Prabhakar from Earth 50101. Both Phil Lord and Chris Miller have confirmed this, and there's even some concept art floating around the internet. Two accidental confirmations are Ben Reilly as Scarlet Spider and Cyborg Spider-Woman. Hasbro has designed action figures for both characters as part of their Spider-Verse lineup, and their designs have been leaked online. That's all the Spidey variants we managed to track down in the trailer for Across the Spider-Verse. Which one's your favorite? Did you manage to catch any more Spideys we may have missed? Sound off in the comments and let us know. And if you like our videos, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Until next time, stay nerdy.